Good evening. My name is Melissa Sorolla, and I'm CPS Energy's Vice President of Corporate Communications and Marketing. Oprima estrella cero ahora para escuchar en español. Thank you for joining us tonight, where we're going to talk about our rate increase. We're going to give you some updates, talk about the investments that we need to make for our community and our ongoing plans to serve you, our customers. As part of this rate increase process, we've been out in the community sharing information of the need for the rate increase. And this is just another way that we want to connect with you, our customers, and also get your questions. I do want to thank our guests that are joining us tonight. We have Rudy Garza, our President and CEO, Corey Kuczynski, our Chief Financial Officer and Treasurer, and Deanna Hardwick, our Chief Customer Strategy Officer. For those of you joining us on cell phone, you can press *8 to receive the streaming video link, or you can also watch this live event at cpsenergy.com/watch-live, or on our Facebook page, facebook.com/CPS Energy. If you have a question, you can press *3 on your phone keypad at any time, and you'll be placed in line to speak to a member of our team. After that, we'll call your name, and you'll be live on the call and ask our question directly. If you're on our live stream, you can enter your name and questions below the streaming player. And if you're on Facebook, you can leave a comment. And we're going to work to get to as many questions as we can tonight. And so we hope you join the discussion. We're covering a very important topic, and we want to get started so we can get to as many questions as we can. And I'm going to hand it over to our President and CEO, Rudy Garza, for some opening remarks. Rudy?
Well, thank you, Melissa. And thank you to everyone who's tuned in tonight. We really appreciate your feedback, and believe it or not, your feedback has driven everything that we've done really since Winter Storm Uri and over the last couple of years. It's been 2 years now since I've been the president and CEO of CPS Energy. And in that time, we've worked really, really hard to listen to our community, to take feedback from council committees and board appointed committees, our board and our community. I try to be out in the community every day, speaking with customers about things that matter to them. And everything we do at CPS Energy is all about our customers. We've got 3,600 wonderful employees that come to work every day, ensuring that your energy is there for you reliably and affordably. Over 2 years now, we've really started the process of getting stable. 2 years ago, after Winter Storm Uri, we went to City Council and our board, and we asked for a rate consideration to really try to stabilize the organization. We had been through some really tough times post Winter Storm Uri, dealt with a lot of challenges as an organization and, quite frankly, as a community. And what came out of that is a much better version, I think, of CPS Energy than what we had been in the past. You know, my goal for the organization is to be transparent with our community, to be accountable, to listen to feedback, and to do something with it. It is never easy to ask for a rate increase. It is never easy to say that we need help from the community in order to do our jobs. But the plan we put together over the last 2 years that's endorsed by our board, our Vision 2027, really is about taking this utility into the future. We have got to make investments, meaningful investments in our technology, in the operation of our system, in the future of our generation portfolio, which we've spent a lot of time working on, and in our people. It takes people to run a utility of the success and the size of CPS Energy. And so all of the investments we're making today are the same investments we were talking about 2 years ago. We've got a plan, Vision 2027, that will take us into the future. We've got to apply resources to that plan and be efficient, but be thoughtful about being proactive about the investments that we have to make and getting going on executing the plan that we've developed with a whole lot of community input. So tonight, we're here to answer your questions. I hope that you'll engage with us this evening. Usually, you know, we get thousands of folks that will tune in to at least a portion of tonight. I know there's a lot going on. Cowboys are on TV, so there's a lot of other options that you might have. But take a little time to spend with us tonight. And I hope you feel like at the end of this that we've done our job to try to reach out to the community and answer whatever questions that you may have. So thank you for being here with us tonight, and I really look forward to engaging you over the next hour. Thank you.
Thanks, Rudy. And you mentioned Vision 2027. Just want to remind folks, either online or on the phone, you can visit our website at any time, cpsenergy.com, where we have all that information available. And we'll be sharing resources throughout this call for you to check out when you can. And if you're just joining us on your cell phone or landline, you can press star 8 on your cell phone, you can press star 8 to receive the streaming video link. Or you can also watch this event on our website, as I mentioned, cpsenergy.com. You'll see it front and center on our website. It'll take you to a link, or on Facebook. Oprime estrella cero ahora para escuchar en español. If you have a question, you can press star 3 on your phone keypad at any time, and you'll be placed in line to speak with a member of our team. After that, the next time you hear your name, you'll be live in the call and you'll be able to ask your question directly. I'm going to turn it over to Corey Kuczynski next. He's our Chief Financial Officer, and he's going to talk about the investments that we need to make for our community going forward. Corey?
Yeah, thanks, Melissa, and good evening, everyone. It's great to be here. And like Rudy said, we really appreciate the opportunities to talk to the community, get out and answer questions, and be as transparent as we can. So absolutely, in terms of talking about the investments we need, Rudy touched on it a little bit, but the story really is a continuation from 2 years ago as we, strategically and thoughtfully look towards the future and had to focus the investments into the community that are meaningful to our customers. And so, the focus on reliability and resiliency is paramount for our community. And we have put investments into those areas that you would expect us to. And it's stuff that you may see around the community when you're driving around, like pole replacements, or you may see some folks trimming trees off the lines. But what you don't see are also folks working out the power plants, doing the ongoing maintenance, doing the weather preparation for those facilities out there. And those are all important elements to sustaining the organization in the near term. But we're also putting forward investments towards the future, like Rudy talked about. Technology is a huge element of our business. It has been the last 2 years, and it's going to be for the next decade plus. And part of the investment that we used our last rate request and going on to the future is going to be upgrading technology. And I don't just mean a computer system. I'm talking about like the IT infrastructure backbone that helps control our systems, that help us do our billing, that help you as a customer interface with us. And the new technology that we're making the investments on, this is a multi-year project, but at the end of the day, it's going to help further enable our customers to engage with us. It'll allow us to offer the products and services that our community has asked for, whether it be rates that are like time of use rates or other rates to encourage different type of behavior. Those are the technologies that we want to help put in place so that we can enable that continued engagement with our community. And ultimately, an element of our investment over the past 2 years, and again, looking forward, is around our people. We have done a really excellent job over the last 2 years, really bringing in that skill set that we need at CPS Energy. And a lot of the folks we're bringing on are folks you see out in the community. There are blue shirts. There are folks on the front line that are working day in and day out, rain or shine, to ensure that our infrastructure is working. So for you as a customer, it means you're getting reliable service. And if you do have an outage, it means that we can get you back on as soon as possible. And so from a broader perspective, Melissa, the investments from 2 years ago and the investments we need going forward are both a continuation of service. And as Rudy mentioned, a look forward to the future in terms of the generation plan that our board got in place. That is a decade plus investment and strategy that we're being very thoughtful about over the next coming years. The other item that I'd want to mention is, we recognize, and we've said this before, rate increases, no one likes to have them, but it's our job to be thoughtful and to be transparent about what they're going for. But recognizing that, and Deanna will talk more about this, we have had over $20 million of federal dollars that we've received that we were able to push back to our customers most in need to help them, through tough times over the last couple of years. And our team as well has helped connect our customers to various other opportunities that aren't CPS Energy bill related necessarily, but that's part of what you get with public power and a municipally owned power is you got teams that care, that really want to put our customers in touch with all assistance that's available, whether it's regarding their utility bill or anything else. And Deanna will talk a little bit more about that later. Another headline that's worth talking about is what we've seen over the last summer or last couple of months regarding the summer is about our performance relative to what we call wholesale sales. But in kind of English speak, all that means is CPS Energy as a utility, we serve our customers here first and foremost. But to the extent that we've got our plants running and there's an opportunity to sell excess power that we're generating to the state of Texas, we can do that. And the reason that's beneficial for us and for everyone listening is those extra dollars that we're able to generate by selling to the state, those are dollars that we bring back here to San Antonio and can stay in the community. And why that's important is all the things we talked about that we need to afford in terms of delivery service, it helps bring that ask down. And so in this instance, this year, we've been able to apply some of these one-time revenues so that our ask for this rate request is, in fact, a little bit lower than we had anticipated a couple of years ago, which we're really excited about. And the last thing I'd kind of note, and Rudy talked about this, is we really do enjoy getting out in the community and having these conversations. Doing an event like today is important, Melissa, but I've been out to a couple of town halls in different council districts, and I know a lot of our leadership team and Rudy has done the same. And it is sincere. We like hearing that feedback. It's important to us because as Rudy talks about Vision 2027 in the future, it is important for us to make sure that we are addressing the needs of our community and what their expectations are. So, Melissa, that's kind of a Cliff Notes version. I'll turn it back to you.
Thanks, Corey. And you covered a couple of good topics that we want to dig into a little bit right now. But just as a reminder, if you're on your phone and you want to ask us a question, all you need to do is dial *3 and you can put in the queue to ask that question. You can also put comments on the streamer, or you can put a question on Facebook, and we'll get to as many as we can. We do have an online question from David Real, and his question is, do you have any base load plants on the drawing board, and are they a priority? So Rudy and Corey, maybe you can tag team this one in terms of what it means for Vision 2027 and how we're addressing growth. Rudy, I'll turn to you first.
Yeah, so great question, and absolutely. CPS Energy will always maintain a diversified portfolio that will include both base load that we can turn off and on, as well as renewables, which our community has told us is important to us. We've got to decarbonize our fleet while maintaining reliability at the same time. We have made a decision to move away from coal. That obviously that decision has to be funded, and that's part of the rate requests over the next several years. But we went out before last summer, which was always part of our plan, and procured about 500 megawatts of gas generation from a plant owned by somebody else. We basically entered a contract to buy generation somebody else is generating. But we do have plans for our own generation. We have a plan to build 400 megawatts of what we call peaker capacity. These are smaller, quick start plants that we can turn off and on, and that are very valuable in the market. So we'd like to build some more of those. We already have 8 of those. We're going to build some more, and we're also going to convert the Spruce 2 plant, which is our newest coal unit, to natural gas over time. That's going to cost us about $60 million, but we believe that'll allow us to extend the useful life of that plant into the future in a way that will allow us to maintain reliability. Solar and wind isn't always there, and that's okay. We know how to use solar and wind to its maximum capacity, but when those times of the year when you're not counting on the solar and the wind to be there, we have to make sure we have enough baseload capacity to serve our customers, and that is always the focus of our overall generation plan.
Corey, anything else you want to add there?
Well, I think Rudy hit it, very well. We got a balanced, diversified mix that is in our plan, and just to put it in context, as part of that plan that our board approved, we have a number of old plants that we need to retire, and that's about 2,500 megawatts worth of capacity. But what Rudy was talking about, the plan we have going forward, is to either procure or build double that. So we have almost 5,000 megawatts in the queue going forward, and that is all part of the plan to transition to the future. And absolutely, there's going to be steel on the ground. As Rudy mentioned, those peakers are kind of first up from a build perspective. So that's about it. Thanks.
Okay, don't go too far, Corey, because we talked about our summer plant performance and the one-time extra revenue. And this is an online question from Ray Cardenas. So thank you, Ray, for submitting your question. Explain the extra revenue from this summer and how does that relate to our increase? Our rate increase.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll kind of frame it a little bit how I did earlier, but we're built here in San Antonio to serve our local customers, and that's been our design. But there are moments in time, especially when the market needs power, where we are fulfilling our community's need for power, but the state of Texas still needs power for wherever else in the state. We have an opportunity when our plants are running, and our folks out in the field have kept our plants running incredibly successful over this summer, and we were able to generate power above and beyond what our community needs. And those types of sales, that when we're able to make them, are called wholesale sales. And it's a very volatile market because the pricing needs to be there for us to have a significant impact to our bottom line. But this summer, it was very hot. The pricing was such that we were able to sell power at a price that was favorable for us as a community, and fell to the bottom line for CPS Energy. So that number that we've talked about is about an extra $130 million that we're able to apply towards things that we need. And so when I talked about the investments that we're making in reliability and resiliency, this allows us to put extra dollars towards plant maintenance, allows us to put extra dollars towards tree trimming, lets us put extra dollars towards technology that we can put on our lines to help accelerate some of the reliability improvements we were going to make. And all of that attributes to us being able to ask for a rate request that is lower than we'd anticipated. So last 2 years ago, we had anticipated we would need to come back for about a 5.5% rate request. The ask this time is 4.25%. So us being able to use these dollars to apply towards the investments we need to make can help contribute to minimizing the ask we have of our local community. So hopefully, Melissa, that gives a little more color to our caller here on what those revenues are and how we're able to use them to benefit all of us here in San Antonio.
Thank you, Corey. And again, you talked a little bit about the percentage. We're going to have Deanna Hardwick, who leads our customer strategy team, to talk a little bit more about what customers can see from this rate increase and what that means for them for their bills and how we're here to help. So Deanna, I'm going to turn it over to you next.
Thanks, Melissa. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here and talk to our community about how this is going to impact you directly. We want to leave all of our customers with an understanding of not just why we need a rate increase, but also how it's going to impact you directly. As Corey mentioned, there's a few key drivers behind why this rate increase is important. Number one is the infrastructure resiliency and reliability. Really, it's just trying to reduce the impact of outages. So the frequency in which you see outages and how long that your power is out. We have to invest in the infrastructure in order to make that impact less to you. It's also important for us to have the technology to support you and your expectations of us as your community-owned utility, and also to make sure that we're keeping the grid safe. And ultimately, we're also one of the largest growing communities in the nation, and we want to make sure we have the people to continue to provide the support to you as well as to our newcomers to the community. But we want to make it simple for you. And what that means is the rate increase is about 4.25%, which is about $4.45 on average per month. And now that's for customers who have both combined electric and gas utility with CPS Energy. But we know that each person uses a different amount, or you might just be electric only. And many people tell us they just want to know how it's going to impact them directly. So if you take your smartphone or your device, you can scan a QR code. We should be able to put it up on the screen. There you go. And or you can go to cpsenergy.com. There's a little box that says investing in our community, and it has rate increase information at the top of our webpage. And if you go on there, you can see a rate calculator, figure out how much you use on an average basis, and then it'll also help you identify how much you can expect to see your bill increase as a result of this rate change. But we also want to make sure that we're providing you with information on other products and services that we offer. We have so many different opportunities, whether it's a rebate, it's a different billing program for you. There's opportunities and ways to save, and you'll see links on our webpage in order to do that.
Thanks, Deanna. We're going to come back to you here in a little bit to talk more about customer support and how we're helping our customers. But we have a couple of live callers on the line, and just want to remind everybody that if you have a question for our team, you can press *3 to be pressed in the queue. We're going to go to Robert J. next, who's live on the line that has a question. Robert?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, thanks for joining us, Robert. You want to ask your question?
Yeah, the question was, she basically answered it by, it was a percentage increase on the bill, if I'm not correct what she said. But I didn't catch how much percentage rate it would be. If it's 2.5%, you're looking at about $25 a hundred. So it's kind of stiff sometimes if you happen to use or have high bills, especially for someone on a fixed income.
Yeah, I should have started with that, Robert. Thank you for the question. Our proposed increase is 4.25%, and that's there are three different components of your bill. There's the base rate, the fixed monthly charge, and your kilowatt hour charge. Those are the two pieces that are impacted by our proposed increase. You've also got some regulatory fees that we pass through along with fuel. So the 4.25% on an average residential customer's bill in San Antonio is about $4 and right under $4.50. If you use more than the average, which is about 1,200 kilowatt hours a month, then it'll be a little more. If you use less, it'll be a little less. So if your average bill is $110, we're talking about a little less than $5 a month.
Okay, that's a little clearer answer. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Robert. And at any time, if you want to call to talk to one of our energy advisors too, and they can walk through the calculator with you, that number is 210-353-2222. We have another live caller, Mary J. Flores. We'll wait till she gets on the line to ask her question. But Mary J., can you hear us? Mary J., are you on the line?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Well, thanks for joining us, Mary J. Feel free to ask your question.
Okay. My question is, how is this going to benefit all neighborhoods? And are you going to repair old lines, new poles? Is this going to benefit the new neighborhoods, the growing neighbors, the areas that are growing? And you talk about the future, but what about the old? What about the old services, people that live on the west side? What about those houses that are little, that they don't use that much electricity, but because again, they can't afford it?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
That's my question.
This is Rudy Garza, President and CEO of CPS Energy. And the answer to your question is all of the above. We are going, San Antonio is a 300-year-old city. Our system in a lot of places may be, 50, 60 years old. We've been around for 130 years serving San Antonio, gas originally and then electric. And so we're replacing poles. We're trimming trees away from lines. We're converting older parts of our system that are lower voltage to higher voltage, as we have an opportunity to. We're reconnecting our transmission system as we get rid of old power plants that feed certain parts of our transmission system and build new ones. We've got to reconnect everything to make sure there's enough power to get around our city. And we have to build new substations. The big kind of postage stamp lots that have a lot of infrastructure on them. We're having to add more of those. This year, I think we'll add 5. Next year, when on average we're adding 1 or 2. So we have got, and so we've got to keep up with replacing the things that are getting old in our system with adding new infrastructure for growth. And I mean, there's always something in our system that needs to be replaced. And the further we can stretch our dollar, the more of that type of infrastructure improvements that we can make. But we are trying to get to every part of our system that is due for replacement and get to work upgrading that infrastructure. It's critical infrastructure, and you're right. The west side, the south side, the east side. We've got to spend as much time there as we do serving some of the growth on the outer parts of our system. So very good question.
Thank you,
I have
Rudy.
seen, I have,
I'm sorry, Mary
I have
Jane.
seen that. Yes, I wanted to comment on something else. Is that fine?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. The thing is that I've seen that San Antonio is growing. Number one, we have a lot more people. I mean, and the shortage wouldn't have been that bad, but because we've grown a lot, that's why the energy was pulling and pulling and pulling. And San Antonio is still growing, but why do we have to pay for the new people that are coming in? Let them pay the majority of it on the new neighborhoods, on the new companies.
Yes, thank you for the question, Melissa. I'll take this one. So, the conversation is absolutely about growth. And you're right, this community, it is growing. But the broader system that we're talking about, the whole community, right, requires collective investment. And Rudy talked about that as we upgrade the old parts of our system and add new infrastructure for the new areas. So we all benefit from investing in the system broadly. We all benefit from a power plant that we're going to build collectively. That's kind of one element of it. And the second element of it too is for those new developments out the outskirts of the city where they're being built, there is an element of contribution that's paid to CPS Energy by those folks developing the new area. So it shouldn't be lost on us that there is an element of compensation that is given to CPS Energy from those folks that are truly kind of new growth. But the big picture that we like to talk about, I like to talk about, is the whole system is growing, and that's not just new customers. It's about investing in that equipment and materials in all parts of our community to ensure the reliable flow of power throughout the community.
Thanks, Corey, and thank you again, Mary, for that discussion. Growth, obviously, is something that we're working to address. Also, again, at the forefront, how this impacts customers. Deanna and her team are very active in trying to connect folks to resources to help them with their bills. So, Deanna, if you could talk to us a little bit about the programs we have available to help our customers.
Thank you, Melissa, and thank you for the opportunity to be able to share this with our community. One of the most important things that we get to do is we get to support our friends, our families, and our neighbors. And that's over 900,000 homes and businesses here in the San Antonio area and the surrounding area that we get to support. And we're committed to doing everything that we can to help provide resources and find a way to help people get their bills on track, find ways to save, control their usage, and see how we can help connect them with other services that are available throughout the community. And we know that there's a lot of people out there that are struggling. And one of the programs that we have is called our Affordability Discount Program. And so as part of the Affordability Discount Program, we are looking at increasing both the amount that someone gets as part of that discount, as well as how many people are eligible for the program. So we're looking at, currently we have about 65,000 customers that are enrolled in our affordability discount program. And we're looking at, as part of this rate increase, to help offset the impact of increasing that to about 80,000 customers or more. And another component of that is we know that there's some people who have a challenge in how much they use. Maybe it's because they have an older house and they've done everything they can, but they still can't keep the usage down, or because there's many people that are living in the household. And so that puts a heavier energy burden. So that's the percentage of, that's how much someone spends on their energy bill as part of their total income. So we're also expanding the qualifications for our affordability discount program so that more people can be enrolled and more people can see the benefit as part of those that are experiencing a severe energy burden. But if you or anybody you know are struggling paying your bills or looking for just ways to save, we have so many programs. So we invite you to come out to one of our events. You can go to cpsenergy.com/events and come meet with one of our fabulous employees that Rudy talked about earlier. Or you can also just call us at 210-353-2222. Our team members are standing by, finding ways to help you with something that they enjoy doing. And not only that, it's not just about finding solutions for how to pay your utility bill, so you pay your electric and gas, but we know that there's many more needs, and this isn't something that we can do alone. So we have over 200 partners in the community that we work with to find more solutions. So as Corey mentioned, we've been able to partner and get about $80 million of bill assistance just for people to pay their light bill. But we also work with the Food Bank, United Way, and so many other charities and opportunities to help find those people who find solutions for people who need it the most.
Thanks, Deanna. And we also have our walk-in centers throughout the city as well, for where folks can walk in. We're about halfway through, and I just want to remind folks that may just be joining us that if you have a question and you want to ask it live with our team, you can press *3. And we do have a couple of questions for the team. One from Facebook. We're going to go to that one next. And the question is, are we planning for future rate increases to support planned developments? So, Corey?
Yeah, absolutely. I can take that. Yeah, so the short answer is yes, we are planning for future rate increases, and that's really consistent with the story that we began talking about 2 years ago. It's a multi-year plan, and Rudy's talked about this before. Part of our strategy a couple of years ago was to, kind of take stock and recognize that, we had gone almost 10 years without raising rates. And we needed to make real investments in our community. We needed to approach the generation transition that we needed to go through. And we're taking a really thoughtful, deliberate approach. And so what we put forward then and continue to talk about now is this multi-year plan that has us forecasting to come every couple of years to the community and just be transparent. Like, here's the investments we need to make. These are the costs. But we want to do it in a deliberate, thoughtful way, more methodical, and take little chunks at a time, so that we're not, coming, with larger, double-digit rate requests. We just don't want to do that. So we've put that in our materials, both at our board meeting at City Council, and folks can take a look at it there. So hopefully that helps, Melissa.
Thanks, Corey. We have a couple more live callers. We're going to go to Cindy Rodriguez next. She has a she has a question for our team. Cindy, can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. You can go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, I was just kind of curious. I know a couple of days ago when we had that winter freeze, I guess the power grid went out and there were some houses in some areas that didn't have power. My question is, what kind of improvements or guarantees have you guys done to the system with the city being growing in the past couple of years to ensure that us smaller communities in the lower part of the city don't lose power?
Yes, ma'am. This is Rudy Gadasa again, President and CEO of CPS Energy. We spent a lot of time analyzing and dissecting exactly what went wrong during Winter Storm Uri. We had a council committee focused on emergency preparedness. We had an electric issue really that ended up, also, cascading into a water issue for certain parts of the community. And so, we've done a few things. Our process to weatherize our power plants is now a regulatory requirement. So we literally have the Public Utility Commission, the ERCOT folks that will come out and inspect our power plants to ensure that we've done the work that we said, that I signed, declarations today telling ERCOT that we have done the work necessary to be ready for the winter. So we're doing the maintenance of our power plants outside of the windows during the winter when we expect it to be the coldest, so that all of our generation is available and ready to go. That's number one. Number two, because of the experience, and just the massive amount of power ERCOT was asking us to proactively turn off during Winter Storm Uri, we took a whole look at the program that we use to manage what we call those controlled outages, to ensure that customers, if we ever found ourselves in a position again like that, we'll have 15 minutes of their power disrupted, off, and then, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, with the power on. Adding switches, we've added smart devices all across our service area on the wires that allow us to break up our system in ways that ensure we can get the customers back on when ERCOT allows us to. So we've made investments that we've needed to make to ensure the experience is better next time. We've actually put more customers into the system than we had before that would be subject to being turned off. Really now it's the hospitals and really the emergency medical areas, maybe the military that will remain on, and most everybody else will be impacted. And we're communicating more proactively with our customers, which was probably the number one bit of feedback that I received during that time, is you got to do a better job of telling customers what's going on. So we've got all kinds of ways that we try to classify the type of situation ERCOT's in or the system's in. So, give you ideas of what you can do to proactively manage your own situation in advance of a potential, weather event. So we've taken all 130 something, suggestions that we got from that process, and we've implemented each and every one of them. So we are much more prepared for an event of that nature. But I also think because of that work, an event of the scale of Winter Storm Uri is not as likely in the future as obviously it was a few years ago. So we have done the work the community has asked of us to ensure that we're better prepared next time.
Thanks, Rudy, and thank you for that question. I also wanted to take this time to remind folks to make sure that they're updating their contact information with us. You can also choose your preference and how you want us to communicate with you in the event of an energy emergency, whether that be for your cell phone or an email. There's also a language preference. So please give us a call so you can update your contact information with us. We do have another live caller, and we're going to go to Edward next. Oh, wait a couple seconds until we get Edward on the line. Edward, can you hear us? All right, Edward, you're on the line. You can ask a question now.
Yeah, pretty simple question. Those of us that have solar panels, will that 4.5% be applied equally to them also?
Yes, all customers would get the rate request applied in a similar manner.
Okay, thank you.
Well, with that caveat, I would just say that obviously with solar panels, the power you take from us is reduced by whatever the size of those solar panels are. So, the 4.5% would be applied to whatever you use from CPS Energy that you're not getting from your panel. So I do think there's a benefit to being on solar, and that it certainly does limit the impact of a potential rate increase from CPS Energy. And we appreciate the fact that you have solar panels. Every little bit of generation, whether it's on our customers' homes or generation that we provide, is helpful when the system gets tight. And so thank you for being proactive about your energy use.
Thank you, Edward. We're going to go to another live caller. Cheryl has a question for our team. Cheryl, you're live on the line and can ask your question. Cheryl, can you hear us? All right, well, we'll go to a next live caller. We have Laura H. that is on the line that has a question for us as well. Laura, can you hear us?
I have two questions. I have two questions actually.
All right.
Is my first question is, I live in an area where it was built approximately 70 years ago. So are there any plans for relocating some of these telephone poles that are constantly being hit by drunk drivers or people that are speeding, instead of just putting it right back exactly where it was before for it to get hit again a couple months later? And then my second question is about the tree trimming. With all the millions of dollars that the city of San Antonio puts out for these companies to come in and trim the trees 10 feet away from the power lines, and you call in to complain that it wasn't done properly, I really feel that a CPS representative should be coming out, not a representative from the company that did the tree trimming, because my complaint fell on deaf ears, and we still have trees that are touching the power lines, making it a situation where the neighborhood could be without power for an extended period of time because new wires have to be run. So is there any plans on
Yeah, let me take that
regulating that
again.
a little bit better?
This is Rudy Garza again. A couple things. Number one, if you will stay on the line, we'll get somebody to take the information on where that pole is. I will tell you, on a nightly basis, we got drunk drivers that hit our poles all over town. And so, but certainly we can send somebody from our engineering team out to take a look at that specific pole and see if there's any kind of barriers or, something that we can do to keep our poles from getting hit like that. They cause outages, and I know it's a frustration. And there are some poles in town that get hit almost every weekend or pretty frequently that we're having to replace all the time. So if you'll give our folks the information of where you're at, we'll get somebody by there to take a look at it. And likewise on the tree trimming, yes, we do contract for tree trimming services. We're trimming more trees right now than we have in the past. This year we'll trim 1,000 miles of overhead lines. That has a direct impact on your reliability. But if our contractors aren't doing their job, then absolutely we'll get somebody out there from our vegetation management division to talk to you and take a look, see what we can do to make it right. So again, if you'll just give us your location, we will have somebody follow up with you and make sure that we take care of your issue. And I apologize for the frustration for getting to us, but we will certainly be responsive this time.
Okay.
Laura, did you have a second question or did you get them answered?
No, that was both of the questions. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. And again, yes, please stay on because we want to help you out there. We have a couple of other questions that from online that I'm going to paraphrase a little bit just to get to the spirit of them. But I do think that they're important. And Rudy, you touched on this a little bit in terms of our generation plan. And so we do have an online question from Jenny who's asking about what percentage is investing in clean energy. But maybe you can talk to us about what we're doing in terms of renewables.
Sure. So let me just start by saying CPS Energy was an early adopter of the move towards renewable energy from the get-go. We're number 2 in wind in the state of Texas. We're number 1 in solar, number 5 across the country. So we are very, very committed to a future of clean energy. We're probably about 22%, 22 to 25%, depending on the day, of clean energy. We will be upwards of 30%. Right now, we've got about 1,200 megawatts of wind. We're probably around 500-600 megawatts of solar, but that number will get up above 1,000 megawatts very quickly. And we're adding things like battery storage. We've got plans for battery storage that allow us, for an hour or two during the tight times of the day or night, in the summer or the winter, to turn on a battery that looks just like a power plant, to us. So, which has zero emission. We're also owners in the nuclear power plant over south of Houston, the South Texas project, that provides us with zero carbon energy as well. So I think we're on a really good path to meeting our climate action goals as a community. The city of San Antonio passed the climate action and adaptation plan several years ago. CPS Energy is on a path to executing our part of achieving that plan, and part of that is to ensure that we're getting as much energy from non-emitting sources as we can, while keeping the lights on, with our natural gas generation as the industry makes this transition. Our industry is in the biggest moment of transition that we've ever seen right now. And, which is what is necessitating the need for billion-dollar a year capital plans over the next decade. We've got a plan. We can execute that plan, and the community will be better for it. It'll allow us to be proactive in managing the impact of this transition in a way that's affordable. But we got to get going. With me and my leadership team, we are committed to delivering on that promise to San Antonio. The things that we're focused on are the things that the community has told us are important to them, and it's our job to deliver on that. So I feel good that we're on the right path, and that amount of clean energy will only grow over time. And by the way, our customers are also doing their part by installing solar on their own rooftops at a very high rate, which is also part of the equation.
Thank you, Rudy. We have another live caller. We're going to go to Derek Sinclair. Derek, you're live. You can ask a question. Derek, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, you're live and you can ask us your question.
All right, so my question is, the proposed rate hikes or rate increases that you're talking about, how is that going to affect, let me rephrase it. What is that going to do with the ERCOT in our grid? What is that going to improve us, or are we going to be standing still? And, I hear everything that's going on, but I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything about new facilities or repairing facilities or repairing lines to increase our capability of not only maintaining what we have now, but also embracing what the administration is trying to do for electric transportation.
Thank you, Derek. We're going to... There we go.
Yeah, so let me address that question. It came up today in our conversation with City Council. Will our rate increases, fix, the issues with ERCOT? And the issue with ERCOT is there just hasn't been enough gas generation built to keep up with growth. The state of Texas is growing, and lawmakers have been working really hard to try to implement policies that'll get going on the generation build around the state. This past November, a proposition was passed that will fund a low interest loan program that hopefully will incentivize some companies to build more gas generation. But I will tell you, CPS Energy being the most reliable utility we can be for San Antonio also helps ERCOT. And I didn't get into it because we're a little bit limited on time today over at City Hall. But when we have excess power to sell into the ERCOT market, not only do our ratepayers benefit from that, from the amount of wholesale revenue that comes in, that we can then invest in our system, which we don't have to ask ratepayers for in the future, but it also allows us to sell some amount of generation back into ERCOT to ensure the ERCOT system is reliable. The other aspect of it is we're a big transmission provider in the state of Texas. There's a very important line that we got approved to build into South Texas, down towards Corpus Christi, where I'm from originally. That'll help get some of the wind power out of the coastal areas and, up to Austin and Dallas and Houston. And so, we're all in this together ultimately within ERCOT. So every utility has to do their part. But I can assure you, the more reliable CPS Energy is, the better off ERCOT is in the long run. So there is an impact, although our actions can't directly fix all the issues that we've got across the state. It's going to take, lawmakers doing their job and the other utilities that provide generation doing their job for us to get where we need to go.
Thank you, Rudy. I know we're coming up on time, but we have time for another live caller. And then I just want to let folks know we have your questions. We'll work to get you responses if we didn't get to you tonight. But we're going to go to one last caller, Greg. I can't read your last name. Greg H. Greg, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You can go ahead and ask us your question.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I've listened to you guys tonight, Rudy, Corey, and like one of the previous callers just stated, you guys have, been very gracious tonight and stated how you guys are trying to do things to make it all better for us as customers here in San Antonio, and we appreciate that. But you guys have not identified exactly why you're requesting an increase. You keep saying you've been working on this plan for over 2 years. Okay, well, the last increase was March of 2022, last year. It hadn't been 2 years. So with that being in mind, so either this plan you've been working on for 2 years, somebody has not really done their homework when they presented their last request for an increase. Either that or we need new leadership at CPS. Because I don't see where, you're not stating what are you going to do. You're saying, hey, we want to we're listening to the community and try and provide those things that are important to you. Well, what are those things that are important? You haven't identified one thing that the community said is important. You keep talking about Vision 2027. You haven't identified one thing that, okay, what are you using these funds for? What do you need an increase for? What has changed since March 2022 to now that you've been working on for 2 years that you're saying you need another increase for? So that's my first question. What has changed? And who dropped the ball in March of 2022 that brings you back here in 2023? Second, again, we just passed an energy bill amendment in this last the election this month. Why aren't you all reaching out to utilize those funds? Because there's going to be grants there. You'll have access to those grants as well. So why not look into those before coming back to the community again? Because I'm not seeing where you guys are doing anything, because if you're just going to keep coming year to year requesting more funds, then we may as well go ahead and deregulate San Antonio like the rest of the other communities, the other counties in the state. So my question is, one, what's changed since 2022? Two,
Okay.
proposition.
I think we get the spirit of your question, Greg.
Yeah, I think we got it. And I'm going to turn it over to Corey to get into some specifics here in a second. First off, I tell you that all of the information that we have put out that supports our rate case is available online at cpsenergy.com. Everything we said we were going to do 2 years ago, we have done. We have sharpened our pencil on what our technology cost is going to be. We put planning dollars, about $20 million a year in the budget last go round to go through a process of going through an RFP process. We now know the upgrade to our computer system. We thought it might cost $500 million. It's going to cost $300 million. We know that cost. So, we're putting that into our financial plan. We were down about 500 employees, which was dangerously low. We've gone back and those, I'm not talking executives. I've lowered the number of executives at CPS Energy in my time there. Where I'm talking about linemen, and I'm talking about customer service reps. I'm talking about engineering people and accountant, folks. We had to rebuild our workforce, which was at critically low points. We've done that work. The growth every year the San Antonio grows more than what we actually have in our budget to support that growth. Some of that is offset with developer costs, but CPS Energy customers benefit, from the rest. And growth continues to outpace, what's in our budget. And we've got to go whole laundry list of, 1,800, devices that we've put in our system, to improve reliability, the hundreds of miles of vegetation management that we've done. Every dollar we bring in goes to serve you and all of our customers. We don't do anything with the revenue that CPS Energy brings in, but put it right back into our system to make sure we're as reliable as we need to be. And so all of the things that we said we were going to do 2 years ago, we have done. And I can promise you that the accountability measures for me and how I'm held accountable for the things we say we're going to do are very at a very high level. Corey can talk you through what this $85 million that we would bring in this go round would pay for. But I'll tell you, we started with a double-digit rate increase proposal 2 years ago. We pared that back to 3.85%, so that we were dealing with costs that were known while we ensure that we get good, numbers going forward for the investments that we have to make. Now we're taking the next tranche of those investments. 2 years from now, once we do the engineering design work, to start the process of building new power plants, we'll come back and we'll have those numbers, hammered out. So we only deal with numbers that are known, that we can justify and that, support our requests. So I'll turn it over to Corey and let Corey talk a little bit about where that $85 million is going.
Yeah, thank you, Rudy, and appreciate the question. And look, you hit a couple things. Rudy, I'm going to take a step back. And when you talk about what customers want, you want reliability. We spent over $90 million over the last 2 years just focused on weatherization stuff that Rudy talked about earlier, extra investments in our plants, extra technology on our lines. You can't see that day to day, but you'll feel it during extreme weather when you got a utility that is reliable, and a lot of money went there. We've got a lot of focus around being able to be more convenient to work with from a products and services perspective, interacting with us from a technology perspective. We can't do that today with our IT systems that are over 20 years old. We just can't. And we've been asked for that from the community to upgrade that and deliver to our customers. So Rudy talked about this. That total project is about $300 million. So we're breaking that out over 5 years. But direct investment on things that folks want in terms of reliability and engagement to us. Rudy mentioned $85 million, and that's exactly right. This rate request of $4.25 equates to about $85 million. And that breakout is in 4 buckets. One is in reliability and resiliency, and that's about $26 million of that 85. And so that's the stuff I talked about, plant maintenance. You can't see that, but you'll feel it through reliability. Tree trimming, sometimes you can see it if we're out in the neighborhood, but it's about reliability. And then technology and security, as I talked about, 25 million of that 85 is going there. And that's not just about technology. It's about protecting this infrastructure. We are a critical infrastructure, and both from a physical and IT cybersecurity perspective, those investments are necessary. And then about 13 million is around supporting the system growth that Rudy talked about earlier to ensure the balance of flow of power across our community remains steady in the manner that it is. And then to the point about delivering for you, we need folks on the phone. We need folks in the field. We have contributed almost $20 million to bring on additional folks to the organization, mostly the folks in the blue shirts or the frontline engineers, the folks that get the work done day to day. And these are local San Antonians and folks around the community that live here, work here, and are employed here. So that $85 million is addressing kind of those big buckets. And they are, as Rudy mentioned, in direct response to our customers asking for reliable power, resilient power, new products and services, and ultimately a high level of service from us. And a lot of that stuff is hard to see because it is behind the scenes. So hopefully that helps give a little context on what this particular rate request is about. And as Rudy mentioned, all of our information is online on our website. It's either been in board meetings, at council meetings. Every year we post our capital and O&M budget on our website, and we will do that again within 90 days after our fiscal year. So that is also going to be available publicly. So hopefully that helps Melissa with that answer.
Thank you, Corey and Craig. We are going to get your contact information so we can follow up with you as well. We are coming to the end, and want to thank everybody for joining us. These are really great questions, and gives us good insight into what we need to do better in terms of communicating with you as well. I do want to give just a call out a couple of dates. Our next Board of Trustees meeting, where our board will vote on this rate increase, is Monday, December 4th at 3:30. Those meetings are live streamed on our website as well, or you can attend in person. That information, again, is on our website at cpsenergy.com. But please feel free to call us at any time at 210-353-2222. You can also always leave us feedback at feedback@cpsenergy.com. And if we're not able to get to your question, you're a live caller, please stay on the line and we'll get you can leave a voicemail and we'll follow up with you. And if you miss any part of this program, we are recording. We will be posting this on our website as well. And just want to thank everybody again for joining us tonight. Thank you.